What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jonesin on the mic here with episode 4. And to start things off on a Monday, happy 4th of July. We got a special guest in the house today. Elijah, do you want to introduce yourself?
What's up, guys? I'm Elijah Chungu. I'm a cornerback at John Carroll. It's my boy
So,
Mike.
yeah. So, me and Elijah, we've played football together for, only 1 year. But I remember this kid had just insane talent the first time I saw him on the field. We didn't get all the reps that we felt like we deserved, but the kid kept grinding and he let his talent show. And I heard that he has some big goals for this upcoming season for John Carroll. I heard you're trying to make All American. Do I hear that
Yeah,
correct?
I'm trying to be like Spencer James, All American.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I see that for you. Just keep working. But let's talk a little bit about John Carroll football. So, how do you feel about this season coming up? Like the team coming in. I know you guys have lost a few key seniors, but obviously you got more guys stepping up. How do you feel about
Yeah.
that?
So I feel like our team, we lost a lot of guys, but like at the same time, the talent behind it was there's like more potential with this team. Like we could go 0-10 or we can go 10-0 with this team that we have because we don't got a lot of experience. But with the talent wise, we could go 10-0. But it's just all about experience.
I like that. I like that. What I've noticed is you guys have a very young team coming into next year, and a lot of people are going to like that, and some people are not going to like that because, you got people saying that you guys don't have the experience. But I feel like when you have more young guys on the field, you have more playmakers out there. You have more dogs out there. I think that's what uh, helps this team succeed, and you guys will have a good season this year. I predicted you guys to go undefeated, only if we have the ball last against Mount. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like that prediction, or how do you feel?
I don't know. We'll just see what happens. Mount's a good team. Our first 3-4 games is hard. Back to back to back. We open up with W&J, and then we get the bye. We come back to BW, who played us hard. Then we play Heidelberg. Always a tough game. Always close game. They beat us last year. The year before they went to OT. But no, the year before they won a game-winning touchdown. Last year we lost in OT.
Hmm.
But we open up pretty tough. I think we play Wilmington or Marietta next, and Marietta is always a tough game. So like our first 5-6 games should help us prepare for Mount, but Mount's always going to be a tough game. Whether we lose or win, it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah, I'm looking at your guys' schedule here, and I think I like the whole thing if you guys are opening back up at what W&J next year, and you're going to their place, get a little revenge game going, because the way that game ended last year obviously isn't the way you guys wanted it to go. It was a tough team. I mean, a lot of people were saying they're the John Carroll of their conference and that we were pretty evenly matched, but I don't know. I like the team that we've got going into next year. I think you guys can really take it to them and start the season off strong, and then you have that bye week early. I know as a player, you probably don't like it as early in week 2 because you just got out of camp. You play
Yeah.
one little game and then you're like, man, I got the taste of it, but now I got to wait a week. But as Coach
The
Fanati used to
thing
call it,
about
yeah,
the
keep
thing
going.
about W&J is that I didn't even get to play against them last year at all because I just had came off COVID,
Yeah,
and the
I mean,
receiver had 3 touchdowns, and
oh,
he's
that's not
not there
happening
no
this year.
more.
That's not going to happen ever again. I don't think we'll ever see a receiver catch more than one touchdown on our defense this year. I think I think this secondary is going to really step up this year. I believe you guys have got all the talent. You guys are now have been at least together for a year, all playing together, and I believe that will really show and carry the defense. But as a player, going against your crosstown rival week 3, that's going to be have a lot of hype built up around it, especially for the Rock, especially having it be at home. I think that's going to be the really big first home game that we have until we play probably what Otterbein at the very end of the season if it's not too cold out.
We play Heidelberg at home too.
We do back-to-back weeks. Guys
Yep.
get back at them.
2 tough home games.
But How do you?
The first three games are basically three losses we had because we almost lost to BW.
Mhm.
So there's three teams that could beat us those 3 weeks. So we just gotta become prepared.
So has that been motivating you guys all off season, being like, look, like the first three games are all revenge games, and that's how you're gonna, kick your season off?
But I feel like for us, like everybody always like pushes us under the rug or they don't respect us. But I mean, we don't really care. All we gotta do is just go to work. And I mean, our game shows like we go to work. I mean, I don't know. They'll just see. I think
They'll
we're gonna
have to
come
see.
crazy this year,
So
especially the secondary.
going into this season, you guys are, now starting the season under a new head coach. Talk about how that transition went from, Finati and now Nystrom. I mean, Nystrom had been in the program, since you were a freshman, so you're kind of already used to him. But how has the role changed from him being the OC to the head coach? Has anything changed? Has the team changed? Like, what's going on there?
I mean, Coach Nystrom, like he just picked up where Fernati left off, and I think he did a good job doing it. Uh, I mean, they're not the same person. You're not gonna get the same uh, like coaching style from Nystrom that you would get from Fernati. Coach Nystrom, he focused more like on the little details and everything. I like that because like when you focus on the little details, then it's easier to focus on the bigger details. But he did a good job picking up, especially like under pressure because we're in the middle of the off season right before spring ball, and I think he handled it well. I think he'll do a good job this year, and if he stays here in the future or if he gets a new job somewhere, I think he'll do good.
Yeah. So now, like, we're gonna talk a little bit about you, like your level and your ability. You've taken a huge step up from your freshman year. That sophomore season was big. You can even say you were on ESPN. You were on the top 10 for that pick. I saw that. Now you just got to keep your feet. Now you got to stay up.
Yeah, I gotta
Because,
catch it too. I dropped 3.
hey, we've all seen your return highlights. We know, like, when you get the ball in your hand, you're electric. And I always remember you would say, man, I just want to play receiver. I just want to play receiver. But now, do you feel going into this year, this is going to be your big breakout year, as you could say, or do you have bigger plans?
I mean, I hope I have a good year, but like I rather our team have a good year than I have a good year. That's all that really matters to me. Because
I
if we
mean,
have a good year, then that means I might have a good year. Because if team success leads to individual success,
I like that. Very team oriented. So what have you done personally? Like, obviously, I know the team does a lot, but what have you done personally this offseason to really work for next year? Any specific drills that you've been working on, or a film study, extra, what have you been doing?
uh, I had to change my diet. I'm not gonna lie, because I just had came off surgery and
Wait, hold on. I think I lost your audio there for a second when you were answering that question. Can you hear me?
yeah,
All right, try it again. So I heard you just changed your diet.
yeah, because I had surgery on my shoulder. I put on a little weight, but I'm good now. I'm excited. Can't wait.
There you go. So what did you have to change in your diet? Were you like doing anything specific, like more veggies, or what were you doing?
I just cut back on fast food.
Hey man, you're a college student. I get that. I get that. I totally understand. And it's tough to change your diet, especially now you said you're coming off surgery for your shoulder surgery. Was it your left or your right shoulder?
All right.
Damn, so that's your dominant hand. Um, so are you going to be now like telling coach like, hey, I only want to play this side, or are you just like let me ball out on whatever side, the field I play corner at?
Nah, that's not me. I feel like if you like play scared, that's how you get hurt again. Like I tore my ACL in high school, and then I came back in like 5 months. Cause like, I mean, you only live once too. Like And if you play scared, you're gonna get hurt again. That's how D Rose got hurt. He's always playing timid, and that's why his knees always messed up because you keep playing scared. But it is a mentality thing, though.
So what's that internal like mentality thing for you? Like what's that like driving force to get you to play like that?
I mean, I don't know for real. It's just
Some
sometimes you just
people
gotta
have
be a
it.
dog. Yeah, some people have it, some people don't.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely one of those guys that has it. So now we can kind of segment things over to Division One. So obviously, uh, you're from Ohio. Are you an Ohio State fan?
No, Oklahoma.
All right. I like the Horns now, but Oklahoma, your boy Spencer Rattler wasn't too impressive last season.
We don't need him. We got Dylan Gabriel.
All right. So obviously you've heard there's new teams in the Big Ten. They're going to be coming over, I think, at the end of 2024, and that's UCLA and USC. So first off, how do you feel about the Big Ten just continuing to keep expanding? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like they're adding like unnecessary schools because like when UCLA and USC have to come over here and play Wisconsin or Minnesota in the freezing cold snow. I mean, even if USC is more talented, when Wisconsin get the pound in that rock, it's just gonna be over with. I feel like they should put like some of the MAC schools in there, like the ones that like be dominating the MAC. But there's not really no MAC school that dominates. But I feel like they should give some of these smaller schools a chance because there's some dogs that's out there, like Sky Moore from Western Michigan. I don't know. I feel like they should give other schools a chance more than a West Coast school.
Oh, for sure. You can definitely tell like that this move was more of a business decision for the Big Ten
Yeah,
because
money
it
grab.
money grab, more big time TV games. And there was an article I read that it was actually the Pac-12 commissioner came to the Big Ten and was like, "Hey, I got this proposal for you. It's let's form an alliance against the SEC because they're so dominant." And it's like, okay, we get USC, but why would you give us UCLA? Like, if you want to form an alliance, give us like Oregon or something, you know?
Yeah, but like that too. Like I don't. I feel like the SEC is dominant, but like Cincinnati is in the state of Ohio. Why did you not add Cincinnati? But now they're going to the Big 12. Cincinnati should be Power Five though. They're a good school, but I don't know UCLA. I mean, they have USC too. They haven't really been nothing since I don't know, maybe
Like 05.
Sam Darnold, maybe like that was
Not
a
that was
decent
like,
average year
yeah,
when they went once they went to the Rose Bowl, played Saquon. But I mean, they should have gave like Washington has always been consistent. Oregon is always consistent. They should have gave Big Ten a consistent school because if they want to, if their goal was to compete against the SEC, then they should have added like good teams for like Ohio State to play because they just run through it every single year. Besides like when they play Michigan and Penn State every now and then. I don't know.
yeah. I think if you were to add two teams to the Big Ten, it definitely wouldn't be teams from the Pac-12. I agree. Add Cincinnati, and then the other one I think would be Notre Dame. I mean,
Yeah,
Notre Dame plays every team in the Big Ten. It feels like every year, or at least every couple of years. Like they play that schedule, and it's like Notre Dame holds their own, if not dominates some of the lower tier Big Ten. But I believe Notre Dame's just kind of one of those schools that they feel like they're in a class of their own. But if they want to get that college football playoff appearance again, you got to join a conference. You got to win. You got to win a conference, and I think the Big Ten would be perfect for them. I mean, they're right there in Indiana. You know, they got the talent level to compete, and I'm 99% sure the opening game next year for Ohio State is Notre Dame at the Shoe.
yeah. I feel like I mean I agree too. Like from a recruiting side, if you're Notre Dame, you want to join a conference, especially a conference like the Big Ten. Like that's a recruiting pitch. And then also like if you want to like be successful in the college football playoff, you got to join a conference because that's always going to be the argument against them. Like they're not in a conference, they're independent. But I mean, you add yourself to a conference, you automatically playing like 4 or 5 top 25 schools. Because I mean, Michigan would be ranked, Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa probably, maybe Michigan State. I mean, that's 5 right there.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so now like I didn't even agree with when the Big Ten added Maryland and Rutgers. I thought that was just a stretch. I mean, obviously now the Big Ten keeps adding teams. You know, that kind of hurts the integrity of the Big Ten and then conferences of college football. So like in the next 5 years, do you feel like there's really going to be conferences like this anymore, or is it just going to be like an elite tier conference and then the rest are like sub, subpar?
Well, should we like start like at different conferences? I think like the Pac-10 will add like Boise State. I think BYU went to the Big 12 maybe, but like
Think so.
Boise State, I don't know who else is over there, but I don't even think like in a couple years, I don't think the NCAA would like be able to run things because like the players were playing because the NCAA was in charge, but now these players are getting paid money. They don't have to play anymore. Like the NBA players, they like sit out just because they're gonna get drafted. But I don't know. I don't think the NCAA would exist in a couple years because it's not really necessary because all these conferences can run themselves.
Yeah, now the game has definitely changed with all the money that's been involved. So, as a Division 3 athlete, do you believe that Division 3 athletes should get compensated a little bit? I shouldn't say to the level of some of these guys on these huge NIL deals, but do you believe for all the time and work you put in, you should at least see a little bit of money?
I mean, I feel like I mean, starting at like D1, like all these boosters and fans come to see these players play, and they wasn't getting paid. I think that's crazy because like they're out here grinding and they're paying money to come see them play. They're watching them on TV. They're buying their jerseys. Like, why would they not get paid? But I mean, for us, we're a smaller school, smaller budget, but I feel like we should get like a little bit, but I don't know. D3 got you got to work, you got to go to school, and you got to play football. I think D3 got it the hardest. They should cut us a little bit of slack.
They definitely should because there's a lot of guys that go D1 that may only take like 9 to 12 credits a semester, while you got a Division 3 guy who's balancing maybe a job, something that's part time, like with an internship, and then he's an athlete on top of that, and going to classes and finding time to go to study hall and all that. It's like when you're a Division 3 athlete, like your day never stops. You're up at 6 a.m. because you got practice at 6:45. In the middle of February in the freezing cold, as you can probably remember, and
Yeah,
your day's not done until 10:30 when study tables is finally over.
man, people will be trying to discredit like D3. Like, if you look at a D3 schedule and a D1 schedule, it's the same exact thing. It's just a bigger school. And then like I seen this TikTok yesterday. They were like trying to like discredit people for going to like a D3 school or they going to a JUCO or a D2 school. I mean, any anytime you get an opportunity to play basketball, football, track, volleyball, softball, like any opportunity to play after high school is an accomplishment. And I feel like D3 should get more credit and D2 like it's ball. Like there's like some real like dogs out there. Like on JCU, like we got Brennan Few. He's like one of the best receivers I ever played in my life. And then like Mount always got good receivers. Wayne Ruby's a good receiver. Heidelberg had a good receiver. Maceo Matthews. Like there's some dogs out there. Like D3 don't get enough credit. Like especially like if you a high schooler, you trying to get recruited. Like if you don't ever turn down the D3 coaches because a lot of them be going straight to NFL. And then another thing is like if you come to a D3, don't think that you can't go to NFL because it is possible. Pierre Garcon went to NFL. London Fletcher should be a Hall of Famer. Went to John Carroll. Like it is possible anywhere you go because if you're good, they'll find you.
Yeah, because there's a stat, out of, the millions and millions of kids that play, high school football every year, only 1% of them get to go play a college sport. And, that's not specifying Division One, two, three, JUCO, NAIA. That's including all of it. So if you play any college sport, like whether what division you're in or what conference, whatever, you are a part of an elite tier of
Yep.
people. Not too many people get to put on their resume when they apply for a job. I was a college athlete. Like that puts yourself in an elite class. And I I agree with you. I hate how people dog D3 because like you said, Brennan Few, like he just put up 1,000+ yards, last season on only like 60+ catches. Like that's an insane stat line. He's a dog. I believe we'll get him the ball more this season, hopefully.
Hope.
Uh, but so now, like with this whole thing, we'll kind of go back to the college football in the next 5 years. But we'll wrap this up with: do you think there should be more college football teams in the playoff? Like, should there be a plan, kind of like how the NBA has it? Like, how many teams would you put in?
If it was me, I would go 6 to 8. Like I'd be seeing on Twitter, like maybe going like 24. But like you gotta think it's football. It's not college basketball. Like this is like a brutal sport on your body. Like I think 6 to 8. If it was six, it would be the 1 and 2 seed would get a first round bye, and then the other four would play. And then if it was eight, then it would just be 1-8, and then 2-7, and then whatever else. I don't know. I just feel like there's been past years where there was teams that definitely should have made it. Like that one year, I think Texas A&M didn't make it, and the only loss was to Alabama. I don't know. I just feel like if if you add more teams, you're gonna get more ratings and views. So why would you not do it?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I see you got to go. It was a pleasure for you to join me today, Elijah. I really do appreciate it. Good
Yes,
luck on
sir.
your upcoming season. If you want to come back on, just shoot me a text and we'll work something out where you have a little more time and we can really dive deep and start talking ball.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Enjoy your
bro.
fourth. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Happy 4th.
Wow. Well, for the first guest of the show, I like that. I like being able to interact with somebody else that's, not just myself. Get makes me feel a little less crazy. But also, as you guys know, this is the first time I have, done a video recording as well. Shout out to Zoom. Hopefully the camera on my computer is good enough and you get to see all the little wacky things I do when I sit here on this microphone. So I'm going to really dive deep now into this new college football format, I guess you could say. Um, for the Big Ten, adding the two new teams. What are we doing? What are we doing? Um, First off, what me and Elijah talked about, you have Notre Dame and Cincinnati right in your backyard, but yet you don't want to add them because they're not going to bring in some kind of huge TV deal for you every week. Nah, I don't like that. Like UCLA, USC, they're both washed in my opinion. USC is getting back on track just because, you get a new head coach and you start stealing recruits, yada 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 yada. No, like let's add Cincinnati, let's add Notre Dame because Notre Dame's competitive and Cincinnati was just in the playoff. Uh, Cincinnati can play with any team out there. I mean, the same thing happened to Cincinnati that happened to Michigan, when they played an SEC team in the college football playoff. Now, if you were to play a Big Ten in Cincinnati, that'd be a very good game. Michigan State, Cincinnati, I think about that. Like, that could be a good game. I think last year they would have played each other really well, uh, especially with Kenneth Walker, for Michigan State. Like, you saw Cincinnati struggle to stop the run a little bit against Alabama, but at the same time, that's Bama. Like, when your average offensive lineman is 300+ pounds, and you got guards that are the size of your tackles with the quickness of some of your receivers or tight ends. Like that's a hard offense to stop. And obviously, Alabama is deep. They have a bunch of athletes on their rosters that were, 5 stars that may not even play just yet. And then you got guys that are 4 stars, and like the whole idea. I'll talk about this for a quick second. The whole idea of the star like ranking system, and how some people are like, oh, he's only a 2 star. Do you know how hard it is to get a star to your name if you're a college football, or if you're going to play college football, like a high school football player? If you have even a 1 star to your name, or you're on the 24/7 sports page, regardless, and you have unranked next to your name, just because you're on that page, you're an elite player. Like, you're going to go play somewhere. You're good. It's just that they can only give out so many rankings every year. I mean, if I had my own opinion, there'd probably be about 400 5 stars every year, just if I could you know, base that ranking off of talent alone from talent I see with my own eyes. Like there, and then you see it a lot in the NFL. There's a lot of guys in the NFL that were maybe a 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, even unranked. Just because you don't have like a ranking next to your name for your high school football accomplishments, don't like take that personally, like, or against you. It's nothing against you. It's just that maybe you weren't ready yet to play on some of the bigger stages, or you just weren't playing on a big stage to begin with. Like, I played with a guy, and when you see a team come off the bus and we only got 20 guys, we don't get a whole lot of recognition for, well, at the start, we don't have a whole lot of fans coming to the games. We're not selling out big tickets. We don't have all the big medias coming trying to record our games and talk to our athletes after. We only have the local press, and even then, like, that's a big deal for us. But we had a guy, like, he was able to then go to a bunch of camps, go to 7-on-7s, run routes, do what he needed to do, and he was getting Division I looks. And he was one of the better football players I played with. I honestly think he could have been one of the guys at John Carroll that is really good, that would have contributed. And even the guys at John Carroll, some of the guys like were like me. They were like, went to just a smaller school that didn't get a whole lot of attention, that definitely could have went and played Division I, because we've had our fair share of guys at John Carroll that have gone D1 and then came back to John Carroll and played. And like, usually like that talent, like when you get to college football, it's like you have it or you don't. Like, some do, some don't, as one of my old coaches used to say all the time. Uh, some do, some don't. And I don't feel like I could find anything better to explain it. It's hard. It's hard to put into words the talent level you need to have to play college football. And like I said, some do, some don't. Some people just have the God-given ability to play football, and some don't. Even if you work really, really, really hard, yes, you will get your opportunity. But there are a lot of times like you just won't be able to stack up against some of the better guys at your competition level, because there are some guys who go to the NFL from Division III. There's some guys that even go to the Canadian Football League, or any other like professional sports league. Like, there are guys from Division III that can do it. There's guys that from NAIA, JUCO, whatever. Like, it can be done. And I love how Elijah said that, is that it doesn't matter where you go play. Like, you're going to play. Only 1% of high school football players get to play at the college level. And so if you were able to do that, you were a part of an elite tier of 1%. So now we're going to kind of talk about what I see for the future of college football. As you can see, it's kind of got me stressed out thinking about it, because I miss, before, like, go back to the Big Ten and go before they added Maryland and Rutgers. Like, those games, like, were strictly like the historical Big Ten opponents that you would play almost every year, if not every 2 years. And the whole Maryland and Rutgers thing, I don't know why you would do that. They weren't even going to bring in a big TV deal anyways, just because, like, their fan base is already pretty small. But they're not geographically, like, in the Big Ten. I don't get that. I mean, you've got a million schools here in Ohio, and half of them play in the MAC. Wouldn't you think to get them? Like, yeah, Michigan, Michigan State. You wouldn't think to get Ohio for Ohio State? No. Okay. What about Cincinnati? What about Toledo, Kent State? Like what is the Big Ten doing here? And yes, USC is a bigger brand than UCLA, but is the UCLA edition more of a basketball move? Are they doing this to maybe make the Big Ten more competitive in basketball? But like the Big Ten's already probably the best college basketball conference in the nation. What are we doing adding these teams? And then you look at the football side of things, like me and Elijah kind of talked about, USC really hasn't been relevant since he brought up Sam Darnold here, and I can agree with that, but USC hasn't been what they've been since, what was it, 2005 with Reggie Bush, I think. It was 2004, 2005. And they had like Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer another year. Like they had some guys, like they were a powerhouse team, but then ever since, I forget what happened. Something happened. Someone's gonna have to fact check me on this. Where they are no longer the team that you expected them to be. And then UCLA, I don't know enough about UCLA football, but I know a decent amount about college football. When's the last time they've really been like relevant as like one of the powerhouses or like dominant teams in the NCAA? I've known them for basketball. That's about it. Maybe some baseball games occasionally, but like when you think of UCLA, you don't think of football. You think of basketball. You think of all the other sports. Football is just an afterthought for UCLA, in my own opinion. Sorry, not sorry. But in the next 5 years for college football, I predict that conferences will no longer be a thing based on where you at geographically. It's going to be based on your skill level and the recruits you can bring in and the talent and the big TV deals, because eventually everybody's going to sell out and be, okay, how much money can we make for our university or our school or our football program just because we have a nice TV game on a Saturday night? Well, guess what? Not everybody can play on a Saturday night. Some people are going to have to play Saturday during the day. I think we need to scrap everything and go back to way the things were, to when I could say probably the 2004. I kind of like that. Have a more balanced conference system just based on where you are, where you're located. Sorry, I keep messing with my headphones here. They're not sitting too comfortable on my head. But as a fan of football, all things football, college football, professional, whatever, where's the integrity of the game going to go? And so with all these like conferences, kind of merging and, adding, dropping teams, switching up, all that, what does that mean for bowl games? Like the bowl games that had previous conference tie-ins. Like I think about it for the Rose Bowl, the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Well, for uniting, what's going to happen to that game? Is it literally going to be Oregon versus USC? Is it going to be, is somebody going to be like, oh, Nebraska, go over to the Pac-12 because you can't really hang in the Big Ten? And all of a sudden you just see Michigan State and Nebraska in the Rose Bowl. And they're basically two Big Ten teams. I don't understand that. And if you want to compete with the SEC, get better recruits. Don't jump ship. I don't know why everybody's so quick to jump ship nowadays. Like, stick it out and do what you got to do. Like, if you want to compete with the best, get in your bag and do what you got to do. Like, hit the gym, hit the recruiting spots better. Like, talk to more people. Do what you got to do. Hit the transfer portal. Even the transfer portal, yes, that kid's jumping ship, but maybe something didn't work out at his past school. Like, can't hold that against him. But just because you kept getting steamrolled or you don't want to face the tough opponents, blah, 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 like how Oklahoma was going to go to the SEC and what's his name? Lincoln Riley was like, all right, I'll go to USC. You're joining the Big Ten to compete against the SEC at this point, right? So what are you running from? I don't know. The whole college football demographic right now is kind of just it's whack. It is whack. I wish it could change, but it won't. So I'll talk about how I feel about the college football playoffs. I think obviously they need to be expanded, and I like 6 maybe. Yeah, I like 6. I think 6 is a fair number because you have the one year that Cincinnati was number 5. They were they were number 5. I'm pretty sure they were undefeated. And I think they could have competed very well that year just based on like the other talent that was there and who they would have played, yada, yada, yada. But limiting the college football playoff to only 4 teams, like I get it. Like Elijah hit the nail on the head with there's only so many games a football team can play a year before somebody gets hurt or everybody's worn out. I get that. And I totally agree. But at the same time, you might need that one extra game to prove to everybody who you really are as a team. And so you look at it, from a standpoint and you say, how do you make this fair for all sides and make this perfect where nobody ever complains ever again? And the answer to that question is that it'll never happen. There's always going to be somebody from the party that doesn't like the way you should serve the chips with your dip, if you know what I'm saying. But honestly, for me, I would love to see like a 12-team college football playoff. But again, this isn't March Madness, as Elijah said. You got to worry about these kids and their health, their safety, and even their futures if they go to plan on playing pro ball one day. So I think 6 would be the perfect number. Give the 1 and 2 seeds a bye, and then make 3 through 6 play each other. So it'd be 3, 6, 4, 5, and don't use bowl games as a college football playoff games, if that makes sense. Like, just call it the college football playoff. It's already got a big enough stage. You don't need to call it the college football playoff game, semifinal, Orange Bowl. No, just call it the semifinal. Call it the playoff. Call it the play-in. Do whatever you got to do. It's got a big name. It can market itself because it's the college football playoff. You don't need to call it the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Allstate, blah, blah, the Gator Bowl, the GoDaddy.com Bowl, the Outback Steakhouse Bowl, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, or whatever. I mean, they keep changing their names. I don't like that. Just pick a name. Just pick a name. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about how things used to be because it used to be a lot simpler. It used to be 1 played 2 national championship. But the whole idea of the college football playoff is great because it gives teams, maybe as a 4 seed to go all the way and win it. I mean, you have that one year that I hate saying it, but it's a great example. Ohio State whoops Alabama and then goes and beats Oregon in the national championship. Who would have thought a 4 seed could have done that? Only Ohio State fans would have, and the people in that Ohio State locker room. But you look at a team like Cincinnati and you're like, man, if they were the 4 seed, they don't even deserve to be in the college football playoff because they just got steamrolled by Alabama. It's Alabama. Like, I don't know. I had to explain that to a couple of people. Like, I'm like, it's Alabama. They're the cream of the crop. They get whatever they want in that program. They have so much firepower, not even in recruiting, but in the transfer portal. Sorry, we'll yell out real quick. Man, I'm tired. I passed out yesterday at I think it was 9:30 or something. Hawkins got mad at me. He's like, dude, don't you want to do something? I'm like, nah, bro, I'm tired. Because I knew I would get up earlier today and do this. But for everyone enjoying their 4th today, let me know what you did. because I'll be working. I'll only be working 4 to 8 though. Not gonna be that bad. I get to go work for the Cavs on the side, but I can't disclose any more information than that. Thanks, boss. Appreciate that. But I also understand because I shouldn't be leaking the details of this party. But only 4 to 8. Anyways, enough about that. Hopefully everybody can have some good barbecue today. When I come home, I'm definitely gonna make some. I'm not gonna make some barbecue, but I might get on the grill and make something because it's only a tradition. You gotta do that on 4th of July, right? I even wore special hat today. You know, red, white, and blue. Had to represent the state of Michigan. But I noticed like when I bought this hat and I started wearing it more, I feel like the logo is kind of crooked. And this is the one bad thing about me doing this in the camera is that I'm gonna keep staring at myself the whole time, doing like weird stuff, and I'm gonna keep critiquing and all that. And also, it's backwards right now, so if I move to the right, it goes to the left. Like, I don't like that. Like at the same time, it gives you guys an opinion or opportunity to see my face when I have an opinion. But I also have to do this in one take. There's a lot of times I have to like stop my recording to either yawn or I don't know why sometimes past guests let off a little burp because I be talking a lot. I be talking real fast, and I gotta take a break every once in a while to sip some water. If you couldn't see that, I don't know why. This green screen thing is kind of cool. I kind of had this idea last night. I was like, oh, what if when I did my Zoom, just put a green screen so you didn't have to, see anything behind me. But I'm currently working on that. I'm working on a little backdrop, so maybe this green screen can go and it looks a little more natural. But I think I like this idea and look for now. But yes, my face is still there, but I just figured it'd look better now that my face is here. So when you see the YouTube thumbnail, you'll see my current face and my current situation. But college football, I'm excited for that to start up. I'm glad it starts before, the NFL regular season because, you can watch NFL preseason, which it's not super entertaining unless like you're a Lions fan because that's the only time you'll see your team go undefeated in some kind of season. But like I said, I'm gonna try to go to that game in Pittsburgh. Look at tickets. I think I always saw like you get some like nosebleeds for like $2, or you could even get like lower level seats for like I think it was like 10, $12, something like that. Yeah, so August 28th at 4:30. Detroit at Pittsburgh. That's crazy to think that I'm in Ohio and it's a lot closer for me to go to Pittsburgh to watch a Lions game than it would be go back home to Michigan. Yeah, you can start at tickets at $5. So let's see. I've already talked to Trevor. He and the other Mike. Well, I'm friends with a bunch of Mikes. It's a very common name, but Mike Nardoni, we just call him Nards. Those guys are going to be joining me on Wednesday's podcast to talk about the NBA. But let's see. If I were to do this. No. Yeah, I could do section 223, which is lower level right behind the end zone. 2 tickets at $12 a piece. Why wouldn't I do that? That would be awesome. But let's talk about college football. The college football game, there's only one game I want to go to next year. And I think you can assume what game that is, but that's going to be Ohio State, Michigan. Oh, and tickets have dropped down in price. See, it's like I would buy it now. First, I got to go work to make money. Then I got to pay rent and do all this, yada, yada, yada. I got to fill my truck up with gas. But anyways, that's the thing. You can only buy them one ticket at a piece now for a good deal. If you want 2, yeah, you're still paying $250 at the minimum. If I wanted to go by myself, which I would have no problem doing, I could totally do that. I would go into that horseshoe with as much maize and blue as I could, and I would cheer obscenities at Ohio State fans to let them know what happened last year at, the big house, 42-27. If you guys forgot, Mr. Hassan Haskins ran for 5 touchdowns alone. Yeah, like some of these are good seats. Like section 27, row 38. That's not bad. Like that's a good view. That's $200. Anyways, I'll probably wrap this episode up here for now. I mean, I kind of talked about everything I wanted to talk about with Elijah and how everything went. I really hope that John Carroll does well this season. I mean, obviously they have a new coach, they're having a new quarterback, and you got a bunch of new players. Obviously, that's a lot to ask for a team to go undefeated. It might be a little bit of a biased opinion, but I like to be an optimistic kind of fan, and I feel like that's what we need here for our John Carroll games. And if you're a John Carroll student, let me say this real quick while I have your attention. It's towards the end of the video, but if you're still watching and you go to John Carroll football games, don't leave the game after halftime. Like, I was talking about this with Mick. What kind of college football fan base do you have if your student section is crazy pregame and kind of electric for the first quarter, dying down in the second, and then they leave at halftime, even though it's like a 21-14 game and you're getting the ball at half and you might be down 7 or you might be up 7? Why would you want to stay for the whole game? Like, you already paid to get in. I mean, as a student, you get in for free. But what are you doing better on a Saturday afternoon than watching a free college football game with people you go to school with, the people that you have sitting next to you in class? Like, wouldn't that be like, I don't get it. Like, you don't see all the Division I schools, like all those teams, fan bases leaving. If the only time they leave is like during the fourth when they're getting curb stomped by 54 points. But at the same time, like, it's college football. Like, you only get 4 years to go to a college football game, and only half their games are at home. Not to mention, we just had COVID not too long ago, where you couldn't even really go to the game unless you knew somebody that had a ticket. And the only way you got a ticket is if you knew a player. But if you're a John Carroll football fan and you leave at halftime, be better. Don't do that again this year. Because I have no problem calling people out for that. I'll do that. I'll start doing that this year. I'll be up in the stands. I might have my notepad with me, just taking notes, or I might be enjoying myself as a college student. I don't know. We'll see. It'll probably be the second one if I'm being completely honest, because I'm going to wake up at 10 and be like, man, I'd rather start having fun now. So when the game's over, I can continue having fun. And I wouldn't have to post a college football podcast till Monday. So I have Friday, Saturday. Well, Friday night I could enjoy myself. Saturday I could enjoy myself. Sunday I could recuperate and get everything ready for the podcast and then start it all again on Monday. Like, what more could you want? I mean, that's perfect schedule for me. But I'll preview Wednesday a little bit. So the Wednesday podcast will be similar to this. We'll have 2 people on, and we'll be doing this every Wednesday. It's going to be an everyday thing, or every Wednesday thing, weekly thing, with me and 2 of my other buddies, because we talk about basketball all the time. It's going to be under a different name, so it'll be under a different playlist on YouTube, but it'll still be under my Jonesin on the Mic account until we decide if we want to do our own separate account for this or how that's going to be. We still don't have a name yet, but right now you can just call us MTM, but I know that's already another company's name, so we might have to change that for obvious reasons. But it should be a lot of fun. We don't know how long the episodes are going to be, but we're obviously not all together, so it's going to be on Zoom, kind of like this. I'll be in the exact same setup. I'll obviously change the background to a basketball court or something. I'll find something. I'll keep it entertaining for you guys watching. But if you want to, I've had a couple people reach out to me as of recently. I think it's been like 3 or 4 people who said, man, I love your podcast. Let me hop on and let's talk ball. If you want to talk ball with me, we can do that. Send me the times you're available, what episode you would want to talk on, whether it be college football, NFL, or even you want to come on and talk a little bit of NBA with us. Just shoot me a text if you have my number, and if you don't, just shoot me a DM on Instagram. I mean, I'm very easy to find on social medias, unless you don't know who I am. I'll give you my @ So my @ is at Jonesin on the mic, exactly how you see it spelled up there. Just no apostrophe. Yeah, no apostrophe, and all one word. Doesn't matter if you put caps or not. So you just put at Jonesin on the mic, and you can send me a follow, like my stuff, comment on my stuff, and then if you want to talk, just send me a DM. Or if you want to go to my personal, you can. But that's only for the people I know personally. I'm not going to give out my personal to a bunch of random people. That'd be kind of weird. But I don't think I've had that kind of platform yet. And then I'll also work some things out. Obviously, I was kind of finicking with this a couple times. Watching my audio levels the whole time. I don't know if I'm speaking too loud or if I'm too close to the mic, if I should bring it back like that or bring it up like this. I don't know. But I feel like this is a good distance. But the only problem is you can't see my mouth moving. Anyways, enough of that BS. I'm just kind of prolonging that, I guess. So Wednesday, there will be a podcast about NBA. So what we're going to be talking about is more so the free agency moves, off-season movers. You know, how we grade certain teams and how they moved. Like if we're going to talk about the Knicks and the Pistons, because those two are going to go hand in hand. Spoiler: one of the teams came out ahead, and it's not the Knicks. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what we see for the upcoming season. We might do what I did the first episode of Jones and on the mic, but maybe not as in depth with player rankings. We'll just probably talk about who we think will be MVP and all that good stuff. And it's going to be more of a debate show. It's going to be more kind of like a first take ESPN thing. We're going to be debating each other a lot. So I'll correspond with these guys here in a little bit and just be like, hey, for Wednesday's show, have this ready and we should be good. But anyways, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of this. This is awesome. Episode 4 is now coming to a close, and it feels like I said last time, it feels like I just started this podcast the other day. I really do appreciate all the support and love you guys have been sending the whole time. Hopefully, like I said, I can do this one day, have a bigger stage, and then, get more people to follow along and agree with some of my opinions, because I feel like I'm a man of the people. All the people love my opinions. Unless you're an Ohio State fan, then sorry, I hate to tell you that Michigan's the better team. But that's how I'm going to close out this this episode of the first college football specific and only Jones on the Mic episode. Until next week, next Monday, we'll have another college football segment. Maybe I could bring on another JCU football player or former college football player, whatever you guys want. Whatever I want, honestly. This is my show. I can do what I want. That's what I kind of like about this. I have so much power. I can do what I want. Anyways, until Wednesday, when you see me next talking about NBA, and you see me again on Friday talking about the NFL, and then you see me next Monday talking about college football again. Peace.